Yes, indeed, Mr.
Thank you.
Buddy Guy.
Thank you so much.
Oh man, you don't know you made my day. You made my day.
Thank you so much. You're making my day because I really appreciate being here with you. I think my record company came to, matter of fact, they did come to me and say, do you ever think about that session that you did with Muddy Waters called Folk Singer? I say, of course I did, because the Chess Brothers had rumors, I heard word that a lot of colleges was going for the acoustic guitar, which they was calling folk singer, which originally was just blues anyway. And they told Muddy to go to Mississippi and find somebody his age who could play that. And he said, you get the MF ready for in the morning. I got him. And I guess they thought he was going to fly down and get somebody. And I walked in the studio. The Chess Brothers started calling me all kind of MFs, man. I told you to get somebody who knew. And Muddy told him, shut up, because they would curse a lot, you know. He said, shut up, MF, and just listen. And I started playing that stuff behind Muddy and Phil Chess and Leonard Chess stood there for about an hour and a half, and then all they could say, MF, why did you learn that at? I said, well, I don't have anything anyway. You know, all I know is their music, you know, and it was just put me right at home. You know, if you had told me to play something new, then I would have said I wouldn't have tried to make the session because I never learned it like they did, but I learned it the best I could, as close to them. And after that, I made quite a few sessions behind them because they knew I would play the type of music that they wanted. I never felt like I should get in their way. I felt like I was here talking to you. I didn't want to be a leader. I didn't ever think I would make a record good enough for to be interviewed by you or whoever else, as long as they was living. I thought I had a gold record when Muddy asked me to come play with him on that acoustic session.
You know, it's an interesting session. I mean, Willie Dixon and folks
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Oh man, those guys. You know, to meet people like that in those days, I think I was between 23 and 27, and it was like, is this the president of the United States that is asking me to do something? You know, that's just how hooked up on music I was. You know, because to meet Muddy Waters, Willie Dixon, or B.B. King, or somebody like that is undreamable to me because I was born on a farm, man, so far in the country. I didn't know what electric rights was until I was like 15 years old. So here I am in a studio with some of these guys I finally got a chance to listen to on a 78 record. Not only sit in the studio with them in person, I'm like pinching myself saying, who are you, buddy? You know, where did you come from? How did you get here? You know, all of them was just so crazy though, man. I don't even know how I played because when I came from the South, I didn't know they would use so much profane. I didn't know what my name was after I stayed there and got to know them for a while because they didn't call me buddy. Whenever I got said, hey, it was hey MF, you know, and I just started answering when they said that, you know, because that's what they all did. Even the Chess Brothers was calling them that. Blues has been ignored for the last 7 years for some reason. And as I was speaking to you earlier, I thought it was the lyrics we were singing, but now I'm convinced it wasn't the lyrics. I don't know. It must be something we did somewhere.
No, it's the truth.
Yes.
And folks don't want to face the truth.
I guess you're right, because actually I get questioned all the time by the ring on my finger. It says blues, and people don't know I never heard blues. Look at me and say, oh, my God, it's sad. It'll make you cry. I said, not if you come see me.
Yeah.
I won't make you cry. Because I don't just sit there and play, you know, the sad side of blues, which is a part of life, while we sing the happy side of it, which is a part of life. And a lot of people don't understand that. If you never had anything in life that make you kind of unhappy, just keep living. And if you never had anything make you happy in life, just keep living. You know, it's there. You know, that's an everyday life so far as I'm concerned. Yeah, because a lot of, you know, a lot of songs, a lot of great blues song was written by Willie Dixon, a lot of other great writers. And I think the late Ada Boyd wrote the one about 5 Long Years. And I remember singing that song somewhere once, and a fan came up and said, hey, man, that song 5 Long Years, you used to give your wife or your lady all your money for 5 long years when you was working in a steel mill. I said, man, all I ever did was drive by a steel mill. I never worked at it, you know. I'm just singing what somebody else experienced, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And even a few songs I've written in my life, I've heard it from conversations from other people who don't even know who I am. I'd be sitting down and someone would say a strong word like, I got to go And I got to change jobs. My company moved from this country to the next one. I got to follow it, and my family and blah blah we and blah blah we. And you just pick that up and say, well, you said it, I didn't. I'm just going to sing it instead of talk about it. And that's where a lot of great songs came from. Because if you listen to B.B. King say, I got a sweet little angel, I don't think that's sad whatsoever, in case somebody don't read between lines and say, when he said, I got a sweet little angel, I love the way she spreads her wing, unless somebody just look up in the sky and say, well, he was talking about an angel and I'll never see one. But read between lines what he meant when he said that,
Yeah. I mean, we could go to Floyd Dixon's Hey Bartender. There's nothing sad about that.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
Let's go back again. Let's talk about Big Papa's band.
Man, you sure know it all, don't you, man? Oh man, that's right around the same time the Lightning Slims and stuff was in Baton Rouge, and I was pumping gas at a service station, and a friend of mine just passed away. He was maybe 6, 7 years older than I was, but he was in high school on the football team. His name was Raymond Brown. And he would come to the house, and I would, get down just for one person. But I never would, man, if you had met me then and think I'm going to answer your questions over here, I'd be shaking. I was too shy. I always was a shy guy, So he came out and told this guy how I could play, which was Hank Ballard's number I told you earlier about, Work With Me, Annie. And the guy came to the service station with an Oldsmobile I never would forget, and an amplifier and a guitar in a truck. He said he was a big, heavy-set guy, not quite as big as Willie Dixon in the heydays, but he was big. So he said, I heard you could sing and play. And Raymond was with him. And my guy at the service station said, go ahead on, you can take a few minutes off because I want to hear you play that guitar. And he plugged it up in the service station, and I hit a few notes there. He said, well, look, I want to talk to you when you get off work. So when I got off work, went home that evening, he said, how much you make over there? I said, I make about $18 a week. He said, I will give you $30 a week if you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon, and on Tuesday for me. That was 4 days a week, and I was trying to help my mom and go to school because I'm the oldest boy, and my mother had a stroke. So my friend Raymond said, man, that's almost twice as much as you make, and you're only working 4 days. You can go back to school. I said, this is my opportunity. And the funny thing about that, man, I never think that when I got to that club that night, I wasn't going to be able to face the audience. So they plugged me up, and he had saw me. He said, now you go ahead and kill him now, because he was a harmonica player. And he said, if I fire up this band, we had this little gig, and I think you could get in there for 10 cents or maybe free or something like that. And when I got ready to sing Work With Me, Annie, I turned around to the wall and turned my back to the audience and started blasting. He said, man, you got to turn around. You got to turn around. And when I turned around, tears was everywhere, man. I couldn't say nothing, man. And he just said, if you're not going to sing, I'd have to let you go. That's the only time I've ever been fired in my life. And I worked day jobs of all kind, and all of them. I left Baton Rouge working at LSU, and every time I go back there, they tell me my job is still open because I didn't just walk away. I give them a 3 weeks notice or something like that. Wow. That's the only somebody ever told me I can't use you because I wouldn't sing. But before he died, I had to give him thanks for it because that friend of mine, Raymond, said, well, I know what'll make you turn you around. I said, what's that? He said, I got some schoolboy scotch. I didn't know what that was, So he came in with a little bottle with some wine in it, man. He said, you'll turn around if you drink a couple sips of this. And I, man. He's dead and gone, bless his soul, but it turned me around. And then Muddy and them introduced me to the little harder stuff because I still was like that when I went to Chicago. And they kept telling me, well, even the first time we started going to Europe, they criticized me because that's that tour. The first time I met John Lee Hooker and Big Mama and them. So they found out I wouldn't drink. So they had me like the little wake-up guy. 1965, the American Folk Blues Festival. Right. And the Germans criticized me to death because they was like early in the morning drinking. Said, well, you're not a blues player because blues players get drunk. I said, no, that's not true. And they just put it on me like that. Sonny Boy, that man could start drinking at 7 o'clock in the morning, and midnight, if I drank the half a beer and got dizzy, they still was stronger than I was. One of his last words to me was, man, they don't make men like this. Then I went to manage a club in 1962 in Joliet, and the guy was a very old guy. And Sonny Boy was there when I got there because he got me because he knew I would draw them out there. I made records with him, and he said, well, I think you done messed up now, son, say, because that man been drinking ever since 7 o'clock this morning or maybe before, so he ain't going to be fit to play at no 9 o'clock tonight. And I got scared. I said, oh, my God, I'm through. And 9 o'clock that night, this guy standing there, and I'll never forget, he had on a pair of suspenders with a belt, and both of them. I said, well, and he wasn't a skinny guy. So I said, well, I'm going to go up and crank up and play because I know I'm finna get fired. And I went up and struck the band up for 2 songs and called Sonny Boy. And he was playing so well, I said, oh, I ain't going to get fired now. I can take a beer. He was wearing us out, man. And this guy was standing there looking at him, wasn't saying a word, like Chestnut was with me with the Muddy Sessions. And he was standing there staring, and Sonny Boy was going through them tunes, wasn't missing a note, man, and still had a quarter liquor on the bandstand. So we played from, he come on about half an hour after we started. 1 o'clock, the guy had to close, and you couldn't stop Sonny Boy then. So I had tried to talk to Sonny Boy, too, how the guy felt about he was going to be drunk. So when we finally stopped the band and went to the bar, he had this bottle of whiskey with his hop without the mic, started playing. And like 6 or 7 women did us all around him. He started drinking and playing. And finally he stopped and looked at the owner and me. He said, both of you MFs, come here, I got something to tell you. Say, y'all gonna tell me about drinking. Say, when I was 29 years old, he was 70, I think 73 then. He said, when I was 29 years old, I went to a doctor. And the doctor told me, he said, if you don't quit drinking, you won't make 30 years old. And he looked at me and that guy and popped his finger and said, guess what that damn doc did now? I said, no, what? He said, the son of a bitch been dead. I said, well, you just keep on drinking, man. And the guy who had me managing the club come to me, he said, boy, I was about to get rid of you. He said, but I ain't going to never say no to you no more. Say, because that man must be made out of iron. I said, I guess so, man. Next morning, we stayed in the little rooms above the club. The next morning at 7, I heard a harmonica. That was him still at the bar. And the guy looked at me and said, just don't bother him because he'll never fall. And until he died, man, I don't ever remember. He was trying to get citizenship in England before he died. And he still was drinking heavy. But I understand he went back to Arkansas, and I met a journalist with an article he wrote on it. When we went back down, he got a little room and the guy asked him, said, why are you moving back here? And the guy said, well, I'm fixing to die, and I just want to come home and die. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Amazing man. They was, and I know I learned so much from those people till I can't even pay them now, but the only way I figured I could pay them is just keep playing it. Yeah. You know, because if they're looking down, they know I'm still trying. I can't be that good, but I'm still trying it.